This is the raw, real, uncut story of the aftermath of Hurricane Helene, which hit North Carolina earlier this year. This is coming directly from the people who had to survive the storm, or those that are there volunteering and helping clean up the aftermath. These interviews are from a little town called Pensacola, where there was a camp of volunteers set up. These interviews are from 1 to 2 months after the storm had happened. This is the boots on the ground perspective of those that are there living it. We all have a different perspective, and we all saw different things. If you want my perspective, you can go back to video number 186 on this YouTube channel. As far as these interviews go, I wanted to tell the whole in-depth story. These interviews are one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do. I've really struggled hard with posting these videos, but the world needs to know what's really happening out there and what these poor people have had to go through. This isn't about politics or views or anything like that. This is simply about telling the story firsthand and in depth. All I'm trying to do is figure out the best way to help these people by any means possible. I ask everyone to please stay positive and to not post negative comments about these brave people who are telling their stories. Seeing all the destruction was one of the hardest things I've ever had to witness. But at the same time, watching everyone come from all over the country with different backgrounds and different beliefs and all working together to help their fellow human was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. I'm starting to realize these same problems are being encountered in every natural disaster. Please, let's work together to try and find solutions that will help these people. Thanks, everyone. So this next interview was with Mike. He was a vet in the military, and he proudly served his country. I can't thank him enough for everything he did and for the sacrifices he made for his country. He was really a pretty amazing dude with some incredible stories. He had been there with boots on the ground since right after the storm had hit. He was at another camp before Camp Miller, but since he got to Camp Miller, he was pretty much the sole person in charge of the fuel station. And that fueling station was the backbone of the town and the backbone of the camp. Pensacola is just a small, secluded town out in the middle of the mountains. There was no gas station in town. That community had been without power for over a month when I had showed up, and it was well over 2 weeks after I was there before they got power to most of the homes. That gas station and the generators that the camp had provided was the only resource that community had for electricity, and electricity is one of our most essential necessities we need for survival. Mike helped change the lives for countless people by doing what he was doing. Without him or that fueling station, I'm scared to think about what those people would have been left with. He also kept all the volunteers' equipment going with diesel fuel, which was essential to piecing back together the community. Mike had been around fuel a lot in his life, and he seemed to know the ropes very well. He also had connections and helped get donations a lot for the fuel. My wonderful community here at Lake of the Ozarks helped donate a little bit too, but it was always a struggle to try and keep the fuel station going. But Mike took that burden solely on his shoulder and stepped up to the plate and saved the day. This man's a hero on a lot of levels, and I can't thank him enough for everything he's done for his country and for what he did for that community out there. All right, so I'm out here with Mike, man. He's been here from the start. When did you get here, man?
About a week and a half after the storm. I was in Irwin helping out first, and then I got pushed out by an individual that is from out here. He was needing people to come out here to support the effort. So I was over in B-Log area first, and then I left there, went home for a couple days, and then came out here, and I've been out here in Camp Miller in Pensacola ever since. So pretty much close to 2 months now.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know you've been a saint as far as the gas goes, man.
Yeah.
They really love you around here, brother, and I know you've done a lot for this community, and you've done a lot to help fuel this community, and you're pretty much a hero around here.
I'm just doing what a man's supposed to do. You know, I mean, these people in Appalachia's never been treated well through the time since America's been formed, and it's time to throw that away and treat these people with class and dignity and let them have their lives as best as we can and try to rebuild everything back as best as we can. You know, it's really what matters to me the most. You know, when you see your countrymen and your countrywomen and children struggling, and you pull in to Yancey County and you see kids playing on a Blackhawk, and you've been to war like me, that kind of brings an eerie feeling of desperation, you know. And a lot of the people here, they really just needed a heart to lean on, a shoulder to cry on, and some fuel to keep them moving. I mean, one of the things that had to happen was getting people fueled. I mean, all these generators, how would they have powered them? You know, and thankfully, due to Prime Fuels and Western Carolina Emergency Network, we were able to keep the funding going. You know, God bless them for everything they've done to help us and make me more sufficient so that I can actually get the fuel out there fast. I mean, you've seen it over there.
Yeah.
They get that can and they're out of there. They don't have to linger unless they want to.
Right.
You know, and so, and it brings back some sort of sense of community to the town instead of, you know, it's beautiful that we have a camp, But to have a gas station is even more to the local people, especially the elderly, because they used to just hang out in front of a gas station all day.
Right.
So, to bring that back to the people has really been a blessing. And I'm just thankful to do the Lord's work.
It's beautiful, man, and I know you put your heart and soul into this, and you've hardly even left at all, man. I was able to watch it for a day or two for you, but I know you didn't even want to leave that. I mean, you put your whole heart and soul into it, man. And
I know when it comes down to everything, and especially since I'm the one who's got it going for the most part and got it efficient. I mean, we weren't even keeping logbooks, and now we have it.
Right.
So it really helps with the donors to know how much is really pushing out. And the average we were pushing out was 1,200 gallons a week. So we were burning through $7,000 worth of fuel.
Right.
Almost every week.
I know there was one day you said we used 700, 800 gallons, huh?
Yeah.
In one day, and that was back before we had the fuel station and the big tanks. That's when
that was out of barrels. That was me by myself one day. It was constant. I mean, I was cranking, and that was kerosene, gasoline, and diesel. I was pushing out all out of barrels, hand cranking it all myself.
Oh man, I bet that was a lot. I don't know how much. I did like 250 with the pump down there, all easy, and I seemed like I was busy all day.
Yeah, it's a lot, but when it comes down to these people and you see the desperation on their face, I'm a 100% disabled vet with PTSD, and when it comes down to PTSD, I can spot it. And when you see nature causing that on so many people, a flood normally damages a section, not a whole entire state.
Right.
It goes all the way down to Georgia. It's sick what's happened, and nature's really came back to smack us all. But we're able to rebuild a lot of things and get these people powered up. I mean, every piece of heavy equipment that's came through, I made sure they had fuel for. And that really keeps those guys out there faster, longer, to get more work done. And so it's just been a blessing to be able to be here for the people and get everything situated. And one of the things I always say to everyone is if it's not your town, it might be next time. And how would you feel if I showed up and said I can get everything you need for you at no cost? The American public deserves this type of stuff, and which is why we need more help. Right. And we need people to continue to step up. This is civilian ran. I may be an ex-soldier, but most of these people here leading have no idea about military or structure, and they're falling in line pretty damn well, like as if they've had some training. But we continue to push and help these people as best as we can, because there's no retreat. Because who else is coming?
Yeah. I mean, have you seen any government out here since you've been here?
I've seen a couple FEMA inspectors going to do paperwork, and but when it comes down to FEMA, no, they've really skipped the ball on this one. Also, though, to anybody who's been denied, you're not fully denied through FEMA. It's just stupid red tape that the government's putting you through. I strongly suggest you continue your efforts and don't give up. If you're having an issue, come down to Camp Miller if you're in the area of Pensacola, and we'll help you with FEMA and try to make sure your paperwork's more squared away as well, just so that we can take care of you, because at the end of the day, this is our country and you are our people. Whether or not I'm related to you, in my mind, you're kinfolk. And so that's what we got to do out here. We have to stand with each other, because this is like 9/11 plus.
Right.
The amount of destruction around you is endless. All the wood I'm burning is flooded wood, and it takes a whole lot to get that to burn, but we're getting through it. That's why I'm standing here in the shirt in the cold, because I got to get ready for the deep cold, so I got to acclimatize my body to be able to survive, since I'm one of the few people still staying in a shanty out here. But I mean, it's what it takes when it comes to being a volunteer, and you come out here and you want to help and change lives. It's about lessening your impact on the people and your needs. You have to be willing to struggle to help these people. And that might not be something you're willing to do, but when it comes down to it, you have to, if you're going to come around and help these people. I mean, these people really deserve it. If you were to see the stories and the pictures I pulled out of the mud, you'd be crying in tears. I mean, and I have several times. Grown man does cry.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. I've cried a lot out here, man. It's hard. Sir. It's hard. Just overall, what do you think of everything out here, man?
I think America has really shown its heart. I think with disaster, we were able to come back and fight the good fight and do the Lord's work and ensure that these people are cared for. And what was told 6 months to a year happened in months.
Right.
And with that happening, that shows exactly what we're capable as a nation, exactly what we're able to do. And for everybody that's came down and helped move these mountains, it was a pleasure to put fuel in your tank. And it was a pleasure to be here and continue to help and I will be here until this effort is over. I'm a part of the management here, and I won't retreat. One thing I don't know how to do is run away.
That's right.
You know, but we're gonna keep up the good fight. We're gonna keep helping these people, and that's all that really matters at the end of the day. Disaster is gonna come irregardless of our viewpoints and political standing. But as long as we continue to work together, we can really be united. Because if we're united, nobody can divide us. You know, it's only us from within that can destroy America.
It's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. Well, Mike, man, I really appreciate your time, and I really appreciate getting to meet you, man. You're a heck of a dude, man, and I really appreciate all you're doing, brother. Thank you, man.
Yeah, bud.
I appreciate you.